I love a good challenge, and going through my pantry and freezers, putting meals together for my family, using up staples, that's a challenge. When I find sales, I like to stock up on items, but I also need to remember to use up those items. This week, I am going to challenge myself to go through my pantry and my freezers, put together some meals, and try my hardest to keep them on the healthier side. To kick off the week, I have a bag of colored peppers that I need to get used up. I like to buy these peppers in bags. I can find them at Walmart and Sam's Club. I keep them in my refrigerator for snacking, but today I am going to put them together for a meal. I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with them yet, so I'm gonna jump online and I'm gonna see if I can find a recipe, something to do with these peppers. So I was looking online and I come across this creamy chicken stuffed peppers by Sweet, Savory, and Staff. And I was looking at the ingredients and it seems like they're pretty basic. You're in the garage fridge looking for cream cheese. There it is. Sometimes I don't have a whole lot of room. So I'm trying to put cream cheese and stuff out in this refrigerator, and butter. I needed 1/2 or 4 ounces of the cream cheese, and I added that to a mixing bowl. While I gather up all the rest of the ingredients, this is gonna sit and get soft. In the pantry, I need some salsa verde right here. For seasonings, I need onion powder and paprika. 4 ounces of shredded cheese, and the recipe calls for scallions. I don't have that. I'm just going to use regular onion. Oh, and I got to get the peppers too. So 1/2 of one of my yellow peppers were bad. I can't use it, so I threw that one away, but I got a little tiny bit, this one, out of it, enough to stuff. So I'm gonna have 5 peppers. I'm sure you could actually leave these whole and just clean out the middle and stuff the stuffing right down into the middle of a whole pepper too, if that's what you choose to do. But I decided to follow the recipe closely and see how it turns out. To the bowl, I added 3 ounces of shredded cheese, 1/2 cup of the salsa verde. I chopped up just a small amount of onion finely and put that into the bowl. I added a teaspoon of paprika and 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder. I'm gonna give this a really good stir. So the recipe calls for about 2 chicken breasts. I had 3 very, very small chicken breasts. You can also use rotisserie, but I took mine and I put it in my pressure cooker and I shredded it up. So I'm gonna add it into the bowl of cream cheese mixture. I put the filling in as evenly as I possibly could. And now I'm gonna put a little bit more cheese on the top. I'm gonna put it in the oven on 350 and I'm gonna bake it for 45 minutes to 1 hour. And I'm going to cover it with aluminum foil, but it's gonna be tinted. We're back out in the freezer in the garage looking for a side. And I see these. These are hash brown patties. I think that would be really good on the side of those chicken stuffed peppers. I have them cooking in a little bit of olive oil. I put a little bit of Lawry's on them, and I still have some left. So I'm gonna put this in a Ziploc bag and put it back in the freezer for a future meal. Okay, so the peppers are fresh out of the oven. They smell delicious, and I end up taking these ones only like the 40 minutes. We have been in a hot dog mood lately for whatever reason. I don't know, but we have. And those chili dogs that we had not that long ago, those were so good that it got Jason thinking about Chicago dogs. So I'm gonna see if I have everything to put together a Chicago dog. For our Chicago dogs, we like to chop up some tomato. I have these little guys. And I also need some onion. Dill pickle spears are way back there. I gotta grab those out. We also need some sweet relish. And this mustard. It's called Weber's mustard. This just makes the Chicago dog perfect. We like to sprinkle a little bit of celery salt on the top, just a tiny little bit. We need hot dogs, which are right there. We like the Nathan's beef hot dogs. We're gonna come into this freezer for a side. Oh, I have 2 boxes of Progies. I'll use 1 box of Progies. So I have these little petite dill pickles, And what I did was I took a few of them out of the jar and I sliced them in fourths so that they're gonna go the long way on the bun. Sorry, that's Cooper saying hi to his neighbor friends, you know. And then I cut up the tomato and I also chopped up some onion. But I want a vegetable to go with this too. I kind of wanted something else, so something a little different. So I'm doing some digging. And look at that. I have sweet peas. I'm going to use these tonight. Okay, so I just baked the hot dogs. They take 10 minutes on 350. So I have 4 little dill pickles, starting off with that. A little bit of sweet relish, some onion, some tomato, a little bit of mustard. Whoop, that's a lot of it. I will spread that out. And then I sprinkled just a little tiny bit of celery salt on it. And that is how we make our Chicago dogs. Dinner time. Tonight I'm going to put together an absolutely delicious enchilada bake. I got my canned goods, so let's head out to the refrigerator and get some chicken. And I'm seeing corn tortillas, which I need that for this recipe as well. In a skillet I have some boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I have chopped that up and added some onion and a little olive oil. I'm cooking that together for a few minutes. I'm gonna start my oven. It needs to be on 350. I have sprayed a 9x13 pan very lightly. I'm gonna add a 1/3 cup of the enchilada sauce to the bottom of the pan. I'm gonna spread that all around to pretty much evenly coat the bottom of the pan. And to this, I'm going to add 4½ tortillas to the bottom of the pan. I don't know if I mentioned this or not. I don't think I did, but I found this recipe on emilybites.com. I will have it linked below. I took the can of refried beans, put it all over the top of the corn tortillas, and I spread it out with a spoon. This is new to me. I did not realize they're an extra thin yellow corn tortilla. I love having tortillas on hand for, I mean, basically anything, burritos, soft shell tacos, but they also make a really super good chip. If you fry a little bit in olive oil, or I bet you could use the air fryer. Now that the chicken and onions are cooked, I'm adding the rest of the enchilada sauce into the pan, rinsed and drained black beans, and also 3/4 cup of frozen corn. Let this cook all together. I have half of the chicken mixture over top of the refried beans and the tortillas. Now I'm gonna add 3 ounces of cheese over this and start the layering process again. This goes in the oven for 30 minutes. It is bubbling hot, just fresh out of the oven. Oh my goodness, it smells fantastic. You've got to give this recipe a try. I will have it linked below. Yesterday when we were digging through the pantry, I noticed I had some lasagna noodles and that got me thinking. So I looked up a recipe and I found a crock pot lasagna. It only takes 4 to 5 hours to cook on low, and it sounds so good. You even make your own sauce with seasonings. So I'm gonna gather up all the stuff because I am craving lasagna now. I'm browning up 1 pound of burger. I added salt, pepper, and a little tiny bit of Lawry's to it. You can use turkey if you want to. I've also chopped up a little bit of an onion. Need some garlic, Worcestershire. In the spice cabinet, I need salt, pepper, basil, and oregano. My basil is running low, so I know I have some in here. Yep, right there. I need petite diced tomatoes and a big can of crushed tomatoes. Petite diced. There's crushed tomatoes. Using up some of my pasta, I need lasagna noodles. Now that the meat is pretty much browned up, I'm gonna add 3 cloves of minced garlic and the onion. Let that cook together until the onion is opaque. I'm gonna add the can of diced tomatoes. Now I made sure that my skillet is a deeper skillet. The can of crushed tomatoes. Whoop, very carefully so I don't make too big of a mess. 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of dried basil, 2 teaspoons of oregano, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire, and 1 cup of water. I'm gonna very carefully give this a stir, and I'm gonna let this sit on a low heat while we head over to the counter. But first, we're in the garage refrigerator because I have cottage cheese out here that will work perfectly in this lasagna. And while we're passing through the laundry room, I might as well grab a mixing bowl. I'm gonna get a bigger one. I'm not sure what size I really need. I need some mozzarella cheese. I have cheddar. Mozzarella. I am adding 2 cups of cottage cheese, 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese, and 1.5 cups of mozzarella cheese. Reserving just a little bit of it for the top of the lasagna. Now I'm gonna head on over to the crock pot and we are going to assemble this. Okay, I brought the crock pot over to me instead of taking us over to it, right? So I sprayed my crock pot and I put a little bit of that sauce in the bottom of the crock pot. I broke up about 8 ounces of lasagna noodles. So I'm gonna put some of those in the crock pot and I'm gonna layer in 1/3 of the cheese mixture. I'm gonna spread that around as best I can and start the layering process all over again. You wanna end your 3rd layer with sauce on the top and then sprinkle the rest of the mozzarella cheese on the top of that. I am going to cook this on low for 4 to 5 hours and we will have a nice big pot of lasagna. Doesn't that look good? Oh man, it smells scrumptious. Ooh, sorry. We cannot wait to dig into this. You can top this with some more Parmesan if you want. And we're also gonna have a side salad and a breadstick. It is like 80 degrees outside today and I don't feel like cooking. So I think I'm just gonna throw a bunch of stuff and make a 1-pot meal and make it super delicious, right? So I have some corn, carrots, chicken. I'm gonna put a delicious meal together with some veggies and lean meat. So let's head into the house and find the rest of the ingredients. I'm gonna make a creamy chicken and veggie pasta. In a bowl, I have 1.5 cups of corn, frozen, sticking to my measuring cup, which was perfect because I ended up using the rest of this bag. 2 cups of carrots. Oh please, there's just a few left. I'm just gonna dump those in there. It's carrots for Pete's sake, right? I'm gonna let these sit in this bowl and thaw out a little bit and head on over to the stove. In a pan, I have 4 pretty thin boneless, skinless chicken breasts. I cut those up into bite-sized pieces. I put a little salt and pepper on them and added some olive oil to the pan and I'm gonna cook these through. Okay, I'll confess, I added a little bit of onion powder to it too. Well, we gotta go into my pantry because I need chicken broth and some pasta. Looking for a can of chicken broth right there on top of the tuna fish. And I need some pasta. I have pasta here and I have pasta here. I don't know why this pasta got moved over here, but I need to do something about that. What is this? Oh, little mini bow type pastas. I'm gonna use this. I need 1 1/4 cup of half and half. I have fat-free half and half. But I'm gonna use the regular half and half because I have more of this. And you know, we use this for my coffee. Well, not this one. Tim uses this one and Jay uses this one for the iced coffee. I'm a good girl. I use the fat-free. I needed 3 cups of chicken broth, and to the chicken I added 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. And I have my little scale out here because I need 7 ounces of the pasta. And 7 ounces ends up being 2 cups. I'm gonna add that to the pan. I added the pasta to the chicken. Now I'm adding the chicken broth. And then I'm also going to add some salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna put my cover on tightly, bring it to a boil, and let it cook for 12 minutes. Need some, whoops, wrong part of the refrigerator. What are you thinking, Corinna? I need some Parmesan cheese and a little bit of Laurie's. I need some broccoli, and I know I have fresh in here. Yes, I do. The recipe calls for frozen broccoli, but I knew I had fresh. I needed to get it used up. I'm gonna cut this up. Some of these pieces look like they're pretty large, so I'm gonna give these a rough chop really quickly. My pasta on the box had only called for like 7 minutes for al dente, and I know I have to do more cooking to it, so I just put mine on for 7 minutes. Now I'm gonna add the frozen vegetables and the broccoli. This dinner really comes together quickly, so if you are in a hurry and you need to get something on the table fast, definitely make this one. I need to make a slurry for this recipe really quickly, so I'm gonna grab some cornstarch. It just takes cornstarch and water, but my cornstarch is in my pantry. Yes, I have an extra cornstarch on hand. I'm gonna use this one. I've had the vegetables simmering for just a few minutes, kind of thaw them out the rest of the way and get them nice and tender. Now I'm gonna add the half and half and a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna give this a stir and bring it back up to a boil. I have it up to a good simmer. I'm gonna add the 1/4 teaspoon of Lawry's, and I'm gonna add a little more salt and pepper to it as well. Now that it's bubbling away, I'm gonna add that slurry, give it a good stir. Let me tell you, this smells so good. I am hungry. I cannot wait to dig in. What do you guys think about the smell?
It smells good.
This is just a pretty meal, isn't it? You can always have garlic toast on the side, whatever you choose. I definitely used up a lot of my pantry staples this week and things that I knew were going to go bad in my refrigerator, so that just makes me really happy coming into the end of the week and seeing some empty spaces in my refrigerator and in my pantry. All of the recipes that I have used are linked below. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you soon.